Hello and welcome to our cooking video. For over the last year or so, I've been on Facebook on our food group, been producing recipes and menus on a week by week basis. If you want to go and look at them, they're on Facebook /thefoodgrp. Couldn't fit all of the group in. So, and each week I produce something. And today's Thursday, so according to this week's menu, we are going to make a butterbean makhani. Now, for this, we haven't got enough butter beans, we've only got 1 tin, we need 2 tins. So we're actually going to make a mixed bean makhani. So we have 1 tin of cannellini beans, 1 tin of butter beans. The great versatility of this recipe is if you don't like butter beans or you haven't got any, you can replace them with the same amount of chickpeas or any other black-eyed peas, whatever beans or peas you like, whatever pulses. Okay, so a quick run through all the ingredients. As I said, 2 tins of beans, a tin of tomatoes. Would normally maybe use chopped tomatoes, but in this case I'm using these baby cherry tomatoes and in tin. They make a much richer sauce. 40 grams of the recipe would normally be just all ground almonds and 40 grams of. We don't have enough of that, so I've made it half almonds, half desiccated coconut. Homemade curry paste. A shop bought one would be fine, but in another video I'll run through how to make your own curry paste and make it to the strength that you want, stronger, weaker, whatever, which is a great advantage of making your own. A little bit of vegetable oil, yoghurt, honey and a red onion. Okay, so I've started chopping the red onion already. I'm going to chop the other half. Didn't think you want to all watch somebody chopping a whole red onion. But first, a little bit about knife safety. Okay, so the most unsafe kind of knife you can have in a kitchen is actually not a sharp one, it's a blunt one. So if you've got a sharp knife, if you've got a knife that you're using for chopping vegetables, meat, etc., keep it sharp. You can use a sharpener like that or a steel, whatever you feel safest with, but always keep your knife sharp. The downside to keeping your knife sharp is that you can end, if you do something silly like try to peel an onion in your hand with a big sharp knife, you can end up doing things like slicing your thumb open. So please be careful. But the safest way is always have your knife sharp. Don't need to spend a fortune on knives, but make sure that they're good knives and not your cheap ones that you might get for £2 off the market. So quickly to chop an onion. I've chopped it in half already, and we go like that till you're just about all the way through, keeping your fingers out of the way. When you've done that, hold it and cut through. Again, just about the same amount of depth you've already gone. Then you hold the half an onion like you'd hold a tennis ball and use your knuckles to guide the knife. At that point, your knife blade's nowhere near your knuckles, so you're not going to cut your knuckles. But if you just sort of go, well, I'll cut it like this, you end up the knife sliding off and blood everywhere. And you probably don't want to know how I know that. Okay, so this is the point where you've got nicely finely chopped onion in a great big bit like that. So you go, just incidentally, this is the safest way of just chopping on a board. If you're not having to lift it up, keep the point into the board and just use it like a lever. Okay, so you've got your onion there. If it's red onion, it doesn't tend not to make it cry as much as maybe some of the white onions do. And you'll notice as well, when I was scraping off the board, use the back of the knife, never the blade of the knife. Use the back, you're not going to damage or blunt the blade. Okay, so we then take this and the oil over to the pan. Okay. On this hob here we've got, when we redid this kitchen 18 months a year ago, we went for 3 gas hobs and an induction hob. The induction hob's fantastic. It gives you, I thought the control you got from gas was good until we got an induction hob, and it's a whole new world. So it can be annoying if you put a cloth over here, because it's like a light sensitive switch, and it switches off. But it kindly beeps to tell you that it's switching off. Okay. So we just put about a tablespoon of oil in there, let that come up. We're waiting for that to heat up. So you might be wondering, we're going in the middle of lockdown, so how can I start doing videos? And you'll notice that the camera moves around and pans, follows me, etc. And you'll have heard a voice just then. It's because my daughter's doing the camera. She's right here behind the camera and running away. I just go, hello Izzy! She's doing a great job of videoing so far. So that's, I'd say, you just want a medium heat for this. You don't want it to be really hot, because if you fry onions really hot, they go dark brown really quickly and go bitter. What you want to do is just soften the onions. So we chuck them in there like that. Here's the sizzle as they go in, and we top with a little bit of salt. That does 2 things. I'll just nip over here and pop this on the sink. The salt does 2 things. One, it draws the water out so the onions cook down and soften quicker, and the other is it's the start of the whole seasoning process. So you're getting that. You always should be seasoning at different spots through the cooking. And while that's doing, take the tins of beans. Remember, not baked beans.
Okay.
Just without the sauce on, yeah.
So do you have to wash them or anything, or are you just emptying the water out?
It's usually, what you tend to find is, you'll see just in the bottom of the tin there, with tinned beans, you get the ones in the bottom will have a bit of the starch out the beans, and then stick them all in the bottom of the tin. So, with tins, never take the lid off fully, or if you do, always put it back in the tin before you put it in recycling. If you've not taken the tin off fully, push it back in like that. The number of times that I've had cuts on my hands from that is amazing. That's where the recycling goes at the moment. So do the butter beans.
Well,
that was a good move, but not this amount.
yeah, try not to break the tab off the butter beans.
Yeah, I'll try my best not to do that, but if I can't, you can, like I did there, and just where the tab was, use a spoon and push down, and then use the spoon to lift it out.
Very professional.
Years of practice. You might find odd coloured beans in, chuck them away.
So the beans are just in the colander in the sink, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't just chuck them down the sink. So, yeah, there's the beans. Right. Now we'll go back to the pan. The onions are nice and really softened. And it's getting a little bit of colour, you might see that there.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit of brown, but not a lot. This is where we go in with the curry paste. As I made this earlier, and we will cover it in another video. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4 spoons of that. And then that just needs a bit of cooking out. You've got raw spices in there, and if we were just to go, we'll chuck everything else in now, it would taste not right. Once that's had about Once that's had about a minute, we chuck in the beans and the tomatoes. Just like that. Good mix.
What temperature is the pan on now?
It's just on a medium heat at the moment. And what you want is it to be like, this should be a thick curry, almost dry, even after you put the yoghurt in. So cook that for about 5 minutes. Just knock it up a little bit more because it's not. And then you put 1, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of yoghurt in. Stir that through. Then your 40 grams of ground or desiccated nuts. That's a mix of almonds and coconut and that. About 2 tablespoons. I normally measure it, but play it by here. And give that a good stir. Just let that come back to the boil. Not to a boil, just to a simmer, gentle simmer, because we've now put yoghurt in it, albeit full fat yoghurt. If we bring it to the boil, it'll split. So we just bring it to a gentle simmer.
It's hot.
Yeah, the bottom of the pan's hot. And that is your bean Makhani. So to finish off our bean Makhani, serve it, we've put it in a nice serving dish like this, and we're going to scatter pomegranate seeds over it just before serving. But because we're going to, it's cold now, we're going to serve it a little later this evening. I'm going to prepare the pomegranate seeds, and then just after I've reheated it, I'll just scatter the pomegranate seeds over. Obviously, if you're doing this all the way through right to serving, you wouldn't go all the way to just go. So there's an art or skill, or whatever you want to call it, to getting seeds out of a pomegranate. We all remember from our childhood sitting there with a pin and picking them out one by one. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you a quicker way of getting them all out. Okay? So first of all, you cut the pomegranate in half, like that. See that? Pomegranate. Where these thick pieces are here, take your knife And you just make a little cut, not too deep. Just helps to free up the seeds a bit. So only 3 or 4 cuts. Then bowl, wooden spoon. You see that one's been well used. It's probably about 25 years old, that one. Yeah. And you hold pomegranate seed, pomegranate heart like that. And this is where you get all your frustrations out. So you just go bash it. It starts raining pomegranate seeds all over the worktop. Sometimes, depending upon the freshness of the pomegranate, it just flakes, otherwise sometimes it just disintegrates like that. You get all the seeds out, pick the other little bits out, like that. It takes next to no time, much quicker than sitting there with a pen. And when you've done that, you go through, pick the little bits, these bits of white from inside,
just
very bitter.
flesh.
They're like the pith of an orange, very bitter. You really don't want them in. So, not when you've got lovely sweet pomegranate seeds. Sometimes it can be.
So if someone doesn't like pomegranate, is there any alternatives that they can use? Or would it just be just don't use it?
I would say probably just don't use it, or another traditional way of topping something like this would be with roasted nuts, maybe flaked almonds or the like, that you roast gently in a dry frying pan till they brown a little bit, sprinkle them over, or crispy fried onions. Yeah. But as we're not particularly keen on onions, but we do like pomegranates, we're going with pomegranate. So you end up with that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's obviously just half of it. You just sprinkle that over the top, so it gives a nice explosion of colour. So you've got the nice orangey red colour of the curry with the bright red of the pomegranate. And that's that. Thank you.